You know, I was talking to a buddy of mine, Chris, the other day, because we're going to the Ultra Music Festival, let's see, next weekend, the weekend of the 28th. The 28th through the 1st, I'm gonna be in Miami. So we're going to the Ultra Music Festival, and Chris was calling up, you know, asking about whether or not like the wristbands and everything had come in, and I was like, yeah man, we're good, we have all that kind of stuff, you know, and he's like, okay, I just gotta make sure I take it with me when we go to Ultra. You know, make sure I put it in my bag. But he and I were just kind of talking about how everything's going and all that kind of good stuff, and I was like, well, you know, this is happening, and you know, I was telling him everything that was going on. And I made this comment about the house that I bought in Lexington. And he said, yeah, man, sometimes I forget how you think. You've always got a backup plan. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you have to always have a plan B. You have to always have a backup plan for things. And the more I thought about that, the more I thought about how important that is. You know, always making sure that you have a backup plan. Because here's one of the big problems. Here's one of the big issues. Life is unpredictable, right? Like, there's no guarantee how things will turn out. There's no guarantee that because things have worked, you know, worked a certain way up until this point, doesn't mean they'll continue to work that way. YouTube is a really good example. I don't assume YouTube will be here forever. It'd be foolish to assume otherwise. And even if my YouTube channel did last forever, the income certainly won't be where it is now in like 10 years or 15 years or something along those lines. It will drop off in some form or fashion. Interest in comic books will drop off, whatever the case is. Now, fortunately, I'm kind of in a position to where the longevity that I have with regards to my channel seems to be longer than like gaming channels or something like that. But again, a lot of that's due to like Twitch, live streaming services, and so on and so forth. But the fact remains that because I don't assume YouTube will be here forever, I operate as if it won't be. And being able to operate as if it won't be is based on the idea of like, hey, I want to make sure that if it all goes belly up, that I've got a backup plan. You know, if Mariah and I end up moving to like a different city, right? Like we don't move to Lexington, we move to somewhere else. We move to Arizona, or we move to Washington State, or somewhere along those lines, and then YouTube's just like, you know, my channel gets shut down or something like that, I can say, okay, sweetheart, we gotta move to Lexington because we have the house there and like the YouTube income's gone. We gotta move back there and just try to find work out there. But we won't have a mortgage. Like we'll never have a mortgage on that house or anything like that. So our ability to live in a home without fear of losing it due to non-payment is gone. Like that's out the window. We'll have that house forever. And so it's important to make sure, I mean, even if not on that level, that for every plan that you have, for everything that you want to achieve, you've got a backup plan that answers the question, but like, what if I can't do that though? Like, what if I'm not able to pull that off? Make sure you have that, because if you don't, you could find yourself in some pretty dire straits. And that's one thing that you don't want to be in. This life, this world that we live in is stressful enough as it is, right? Like being able to take it day by day is already stressful, especially if you're somebody barely making ends meet. It can be very stressful to make sure your bills get paid. It can be very stressful to make sure that, you know, to believe that you're gonna have a roof over your head, you know, in like a year or 2 years, if funds are that tight. And so because that's the case, you don't wanna add to that existing stress by having no idea what's gonna happen next if everything goes belly up. So always make sure you have a backup plan, whether that's setting money aside, whether that's making an actual plan for what comes next, whether that's creating future goals for yourself, whatever the case is, always make sure you've got a backup plan. Always make sure that you've got the ability to kind of continue on the journey that you want to achieve, or, you know, to the goal you want to achieve, if your current path is somehow obstructed or cut off entirely. So a couple words of advice, just want to kind of throw that out there for you guys, you know, something to think about, you know, but yeah. Anyway guys, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce off here, and I will catch you all later. Peace.